Welcome back to another episode of the Elevated Chat Room. Elevate your mind, elevate your life. Man, we got a whole panel with us here tonight. So I'm going to introduce the topic real quick, and then I'll let everybody kind of, give their own personal introduction. They're going to keep it short and sweet. Topic for tonight is, I'm not Superman, I'm Clark Kent. The conversations men have, but don't have. I will start with you, my guy. You can go ahead and introduce yourself.
Name is Jeffrey Brothers. I am assistant professor of counseling at Heritage Christian University. I have a license as a mental health counselor. I have a bachelor's in Bible, a master's in counseling, and a doctorate in community care and counseling with an emphasis on marriage and family.
All right, my name is Anthony Brooks. I serve young people who were referred from the court system. I've been working with young people for over 30 years, and I think they've been working with me for over 35. So I'm trying to get better every day, trying to learn to be more and more of a child advocate and just a servant of the people.
And my name is Stephen Gill. I'm pastor of the Sterling Boulevard Church of Christ. I'm also president of the Civil Service Board here in Sheffield. And I also hold a board position on Sheffield Housing Authority. Been working with young people for the last 20 years of my life, from the prison facility through the school system, and also volunteer here at the Rescue Me Project.
My name is Leon Ricks. I'm known as Ella Ricks Healing Fountain Church. I teach, I preach, young people, and
That's it. All right. Short and sweet.
My name is Jaden Brown. Work full-time, youth mentor, Christian rap artist. I just love to do everything for the kingdom, so that's a little bit about me.
You got bars? You got bars? You be spitting or you just be playing around?
He got bars.
I got a little.
He got bars.
I know he just got out that barbershop car.
I know. It's waves sitting fine. It got a little wet.
It's a little bit. It's a little bit drown.
Go ahead.
And I am Trenda Owens. I'm your co-host. I am a social worker, social work educator, contract therapist, and I work here 3 times a month, facilitating psychoeducational groups, and I'm a community activist, if you will call it.
She do it all. She do it.
I try not to.
That's just a soldier. It's just a soldier. Right
She
there.
dependable too. That's what's up.
She ain't playing.
My name is Dwayne Malone. I'm a fly on the wall. I'm a husband, father, mentor, and a grandfather. I love working with youth and love pouring into people and do whatever I can to help them reach their highest potential in the best way I can.
And don't you do something with the Rescue Me Project?
I'm the founder of the Rescue Me Project.
You just got out the barbershop too. You're like Kimbo Slice.
Raise on my head.
Oh man, I Miss Trenda. You can go ahead and let them know why we doing this tonight.
So I'm excited. First, I want to give props to Dwayne Malone, who is the founder. He's so, as he said, fly on the wall. I guess if that's what you want to call it. But he is the founder of the Rescue Me Project, and I want to give props to him. I went to him about 3 months ago and shared the idea of having this, and he was wide open. So what this is, I'm not Superman, I'm Clark Kent. As the elephant in the room, I'm the only female that's sitting up here with these amazing men. But I'm doing this simply because it's something that God put on my heart to do. But I have 3 brothers. I'm the only girl. And I've seen what it is for men to try to be strong, men who have gone through trauma, have gone through various issues, have gone unfathered. I've seen what that can do to a person. I have worked 6 years total at the Juvenile Detention Center, and I've seen boys who have, gone through childhood trauma, and they don't have the language for what it is they're dealing with, and it comes out in behaviors. And so I'm constantly seeing every day things that men go through, and because I care about men and boys, I wanted to have this event to give you all the space. Many of you know how to be Superman, and that's because you've never been given room to be Clark Kent.
That's good.
That's what we're creating tonight, is the room to be Clark Kent.
I love it, man. I appreciate you for allowing God to use you and being obedient, because this is something that, you know, me and Dwayne have plenty of conversations that only me and Dwayne can have. You know, like we can be vulnerable with each other as men and not look at each other like, oh, you weak, or oh, you different. Like, no, you find out that you share some of the same issues, same problems, you know, when you really, you know, get down to it. So we ain't gonna prolong the time. We're gonna go right into it. So section 1 is titled The Mask, Pressure, Expectations, and Silent Struggles. So my first question, and whoever wants to take it, y'all can just kind of step in as we go. My first question is, what does being a man look like today? And do you think men feel pressure to always appear strong? Anybody can jump in.
AB?
I think men are pressured to appear strong. I'm gonna tell you why. When boys grow up, we're taught certain things. I had, now y'all don't know what this is, but it's a doll called G.I. Joe. And then you have girls that grew up with these little baby dolls or whatever. So you got the boy over in the corner playing with this truck, playing with G.I. Joe, and they just crashing into each other. Pow, just all this going on. But you got the girl over there and they just learning all this and all this. And as we go up, we're being taught boys don't cry. Boys are always strong. You know, even though there is a Clark Kent and Superman, there is a kryptonite, but nothing can stop us. We watch movies about we're going to be this and we're going to be that. But the girls watching the movies, they watching Happily Ever After. And nobody ever told them that their prince in shining armor one day will grow up and he's going to have bad breath when he wake up beside you as your husband. But the boys are being taught this, girls being taught that. And when you try to grow up as a man, the expectations are always, well, G.I. Joe, man, I got to be hardcore, man. And I'm a thug. And because many times, you know, we want to let the ladies, they like the thug before they like the nice guy. So we kind of fall into that whole thing. Like, man, I just want to be tough. And so that is one of the things that outlooks that society looks at men or whatever, man, until you are humbled. To realize, man, it ain't even about all that. And my hopes is, man, before people die, they realize what it's really all about. It has nothing to do with trying to appear strong.
Wow.
Everything to do with the cat that is the one that's willing to say, hey, man, I'm sorry. It's really the cat that's stronger than the guy that's got all the muscles and everything.
Yeah. I like that, man. Somebody, that's good. Let's hit on the second part. Let's hit on the first part of the question when it talks about what does being a man look like today? Like your everyday living, and everybody's different, but in your own personal life, what does it look like being a man for you?
A man is a visionary. He has to display the vision for the family. If the family gonna go in any direction, that man has to be the spiritual GPS. Not only should he have the vision, but he's the protector. You know, we just talked about this. You know, AB just said it, that girls want the bad boys. You know, we're going through that currently in my family right now. My daughter wants the bad boys. And, you know, you hurt when you see that, but it's something that they have to go through. So you got to protect them without being too aggressive where you lose the trust of your child.
Yeah.
And you don't want to lose the trust of your child. You want to let them know that I'm crying on the inside, but baby, I got you. When it's not easy. So you got to be the provider also. You know, you got to provide. There are things that come up unexpectedly.
Yeah.
So you got to be the visionary, you got to be the protector, you got to be the provider. So to me, that's what a man is.
That's good, bro. And that's real.
Yeah.
I mean, that's real. Anybody else want to tap on that? Jaden, I know you're a young man. Like everybody else kind of, 30 plus, I believe.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
but you've been a young man. I don't want to put you on the spot.
Are you good?
But as a young man, how is it for you in your day-to-day walk as a man?
Me personally, what I've dealt with is I've always been the older one.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I got younger siblings, younger brother, younger sister. So I've always known that I'm being watched. So with me knowing that at such a young age, it taught me that because someone's watching me, I got to make sure I'm watching myself and watching how I move, how I talk, how I walk, how I react here, how I do this and how I do that. So that's why, and it's like now when people see me, they're like, man, you're so mature for your age. You this, you that. It's just that from a young age, I had to be the example.
Gotcha.
It was almost like it was not necessarily forced upon me, but it was almost like that's all they had.
Yeah.
I didn't grow up with my dad in the house, so I was the example. I was the male in the home. So when it came to seeing how the right way, how this was supposed to be done, they were looking at me.
Yeah. That's good.
When it came to how is this going to be done, they were looking at me.
So you had to set the standard and be the standard.
Right, I had to set it and be it. So, I mean, and I can't say that it was necessarily hard because I've always had my grandfather. Like my grandfather, he's been there since day one.
Yeah.
He was the male figure in my life. Like, okay, where I felt like I lacked here,
Yeah.
he picked that up, taught me, and led the way the entire time to this day. So that's why I have so much respect for my grandmother as well. They basically raised me. Like, those are my two favorite people in the world.
That's awesome.
Like, man, like summertime came, like most people, they want to go on trips. And I'm staying at grandparents' house all summer long. Like,
Yeah.
I love to be around them because that's what I have. You know what I'm saying? So, and they taught me how to do this and how to do a lot of different things. So it's like I had so much wisdom poured into me. It was kind of overwhelming to take in. But as I grew, it kind of just started to pour out onto them. And then, so that's kind of what I've experienced up to this time.
That's good. One of the things that I pay attention a lot to when I look at men, and it was something that I had to take a step back for myself too. Like, I feel like we have to earn everything, you know, but as a boy, I could just be. But as a man, you don't get to just be. If you're not doing A, B, and C, then it seems like that unconditional love now becomes conditional. You know, and so that's one thing that I see, like, we have got to stop performing. You know, I had a conversation with my boys about 2 months ago going into baseball season. I told them, I say, look, you know, whether you strike out, hit a home run, do your thing or not, I was like, don't get it twisted. I want you to perform well because we put in a lot of work, but it don't change how I feel about you. Like, my love for you is not going to be predicated on how well you do for this game. Now, how proud I am of you may change, but my love won't. No, you get in the car, I'm not going to tell you good game when you sucked it up. Your mama can do that, but daddy ain't going to do that. You know, so, but I had to tell him, like, look, so when I'm getting on to y'all, that don't mean I love y'all less. That just mean I have expectations for y'all, and we just didn't meet them this game, and we'll get them next time. And so, but deep down inside, like, when I really started, like, studying a certain part of the Word of God, it was like, it just hit me that we don't have to earn nothing to be in the kingdom of God. We just be. And so I'm hoping and praying that one day we can get to that point that we can just be as men. Because I talked to somebody Wednesday night. I asked the question. I said, it was basically like this: do you believe that men or males are only given unconditional love if they are son? And most of them agree that we only truly get that unconditional love if we have a mother or father that's still living. Everything else, what can you do for me? What have you done for me lately? And that's one thing that we have to step back from that and be like, you know what? I'm just gonna be me. And if it ain't good enough for you, then that's on you. But like I said, man, it's hard though. Because, you know, we built to perform. We've been bred in it. But yeah.
But, you know, one thing I hope this conversation does, you keep using a good word, and that's performance. You know, you're asking the question, what does a man look like? But I think generation after generation, you know, boys look to men, whether they're in the home or they're outside of the home, as to what that should look like for them. And Jaden talked about how his dad wasn't there, his grandfather was there. But what about the men who didn't have that father or a grandfather? What do they have to look at? What do they have to model other than what they may see in their neighborhood, what they may see on TV? But who's to say what's right? Who's to say if somebody is doing it right? So you said, I hope that, you know, men can get out of the performance mode of, okay, I'm doing this because I saw somebody else do it. I saw that, hey, my granddad, my father is a workaholic, so I'm going to turn around and be a workaholic, and I'm going to die from a heart attack because I'm working so hard to provide, to do. Well, they weren't, shown how to rest. There is a point of rest. There is a thing of having your own dreams and desires out of life. And life is not about just working, paying bills, and then we die.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the performance mode that some men have gotten into. That's that Superman mode that you got to have on this cape all the time. So why do you feel like that? And so, I hope as we go through this conversation that at some point we can get past performance. Even when we can come to things like this, I'm just going to keep it real all the way around.
Yeah.
I'm not looking for performance. Right. I want you to just be.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get to know Clark Kent.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to know Superman. I can see him on TV. But what I think people really want at the end of the day, and I think what men want, is to be Clark Kent, is to pull off that performance mode, is to just be. Because, again, what we may think a man is where did we get that from?
That's good. That's good.
Well, for me, I'm from the older generation. My mom, my daddy was married. But my mom was, you wouldn't say the provider, but she was almost like the provider. And it was like being in a single home. My daddy was at work. My mom, she clothed us, she fed us, she put us to bed. Daddy come home from work, he eats, maybe go to sleep, or he go out and hang out with his friends. So from my point of view, I had to be Clark Kent. From a young age. I had to obey my mom. So as I grew up, Kryptonite came in.
All right.
And changed me.
Wow.
So I rebelled. I did things that I wanted to do. So as I found out that being a man was different than what I was doing. Why go out and wreck people's lives and do things to people when you know better because you wasn't brought up that way? That we all of us, what we learn at home, mostly from mom, is still in us. And dad is, he out working. That was my life. And only time I could really say my dad was there is when it was time to plant a garden or do work around the house. He was there. And if I didn't do it when he would tell me to do it, then I knew what was coming. I knew Superman was coming to me.
More like Les Luthor.
and I learned from that we go through all these different phases of Superman, but when it all end up, like the men's on this panel, now we know how to be Clark Kent. We know how to chastise our child. We know how to bring them up in the nurture and admonition of the Lord. We know how to do all these things. We know how to divide them, subtract them, multiply it. We know how to do all of this today.
I appreciate the concept of Superman and Clark Kent. We are living in a society where the landscape is changing. The world that we grew up in doesn't exist. The concept of masculinity that raised us, that's out the window. I grew up, a lot of us grew up in a time where, you would never see a man wearing a bonnet.
No.
You would never see a man painting his fingernails. There were just certain things that weren't considered masculine. Now, I'm to this day, I have 2 daughters. They will not paint my nails. And it's not because I'm a homophobic, but it's because I want to teach them that boundaries do still matter. But sometimes we have to revisit those old wounds, because a lot of us who grew up in that time, when we fell or when we scraped our knee and we were bleeding, we were told to stop crying, swallow it and suck it up. We were not allowed to express that kind of pain and vulnerability. And so we grew up like that. And we grew up like that, and we became men who we were forced to be Superman, and we had to put Clark Kent on the shelf. And now we're in a time where we need Clark Kent to come out. 2 daughters don't need just a Superman. Superman is great, but Clark Kent knows how to give warm hugs. And so I think we need to be able to release ourselves from those old ways to say, it's okay. I mean, when you fall and scrape yourself, it does hurt. And those tears are valid. And it's okay to feel them and express them. And so I think a lot of us can identify with that as men. We know how to swallow our hurt.
That's good.
Wow.
It's on you, Trenda.
Why do you think so many men struggle to talk openly about what they're carrying emotionally? Why do you struggle? I heard Zoe talk about the relationship between him and Dwayne, that they could talk about anything. And I think that's a beautiful thing, because men do need to get some realness, off of their chest, out of their system about things that are going on. But why do men on a whole, why do they struggle to talk openly about what they're carrying emotionally?
Number one, probably because it's never been a norm modeled in front of them. It's hard to be held accountable or to understand something you've never been exposed to. That's number one. And then next is not feeling like you have a safe place. And that matters. Or if I had the safe place and then they got messed up some kind of.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
It's a lot, because it take a lot, but you got to think about it. Most men don't have that place to be able to open up and talk. So the one time that they try, and if something happens, it don't take much, because you still wearing that image of being a protector, that image of being the one that got it all together, that image of being the provider, and all those things. So I believe that's several reasons why many struggle to open up and share emotion. Now I tell you, when you do it, it is refreshing.
Yeah.
It is refreshing. It just got to become the new norm. It's got to become the new norm, because what we're seeing right now is there's so many people, especially men, that walk around as zombies right now, simply because they're not really emotionally intelligent when it comes to sharing their emotions.
And not only that, Ms. Trenda, what's harder than just being vulnerable as a man is being vulnerable as a spiritual man. Spiritual man take being a man to a whole nother level.
Right.
Yeah.
Because now when you have received the position as a spiritual man, not only is the world not ready for it, religion ain't ready for it. Because religion has always looked at that spiritual man to be the closest example to God when he's not God. He's a representative of God. And so spiritual men are afraid to be vulnerable, because if they know you struggle, it's so much easier for the flock to struggle themselves, or to be content with their situation of the struggle. So harder than being a man is being a spiritual man.
Wow.
That's good. But do you feel like you have to be perfect in that? That's I mean, you see what I'm saying though? Like deep down inside, do you feel like as a spiritual man, you have to be like, you got to get it right? There is no room
I used
for
to.
slip-ups. Okay.
I used to. The last 7 or 8 years, I've really been evolving into the Clark Kent, where I have openly confessed things from the pulpit, and it has freed me. And more people receive you when you keep it real on that level. It was once a fear, but now once that fear is being liberated where people feel more comfortable talking to you now. You see more people on the outside of the church who thought church folk were perfect, like, oh man, since you kept it real like that, man, hey, this is what I'm struggling with. It gives people a safe place to be themselves also.
I want to add to that. He was a good point right there. Being vulnerable and actually getting to the point of open up and being transparent actually becomes the superpower. You know, it becomes the power.
Yeah.
And I've learned the more that you do it, actually the better you feel. Because you easily become the key to someone else's lock, not even realize it until you open up about some of the things that really we all be going through. As men, we literally be going through it. But everybody being quiet. It's like the guy that's in the game that don't want to get because he's ashamed of what the other person may say, but they thinking the same thing. Man, I'm tired of this. I'm ready to get out of it. Nobody speaking up.
I was gonna say, I will just be totally straight up, is trust and betrayal is really something that has plagued men. When someone goes against your trust and has totally betrayed you, man, you don't feel that everybody else that you look at looks just like the one that betrayed me. So at this point, it's like, oh, I'm not feeling like opening up to anybody. I work with young people every day. I look into their eyes and I'm talking to them. And it's like, man, yeah, you can't get through this boundary because the last guy that looked like you with a tie on and a suit, he betrayed me. And the guy before that and the guy before that. As a matter of fact, I'm rejected now. I feel rejected. Now I'm worse off than I was when I started opening up. So why open up at all? And so what happens is you get older and you hold on to it. Male ego, strong, tough. Clark Kent, I'm just going to hide him. Just going to be Superman the whole time. I always show people that I'm Superman, but I can't trust. Man, it's the reason why a lot of churches can't even come together, man. Don't nobody trust nobody. Everybody say Jesus is real, but still church is the most segregated place on Sunday mornings. I ain't even just talking about black and white. Oh, none of us want to work together because we don't trust. We've been hurt by this other one that looked just, oh, Lord, oh, gee. And then this one, you go over here, he's like, well, the Lord said that out. Okay, but, and then the rest of them, it's like I got the same feeling and emotion attached to me from the same cat. And then so you look just like him and then you look just like him. And we go leave this place right here and I leave back and somebody talking about me and this person over here done. And it's like a trust barrier there. You know, when you've been betrayed, you're a wounded puppy. You walking around. You big, you strong, you tough, you look at this facade, but you don't let nobody in because you feel like everybody fake.
And you know, to hold that in, and I mean, everything you all are saying is so true, but you know, what I look at is, Dwayne was saying, we have to make it normal. And you talked about your vulnerability from the pulpit. I think we have to, and you talked about how we're in a different, basically dispensation. We're at a different time period now. I mean, we held on to, or you men have held on to, you know, lack of trust, all these issues, or things you've been shown that, you know, it's just not good to be vulnerable. But when I look at the numbers statistically, when it comes to black men, that's one reason why we're here. I didn't just, you know, decide I want to have this out of the blue. First, God put this on my heart, but then it goes to what we're looking at in reality. If we're going to change the game, because at the end of the day, this is what I'm hoping this platform does, is to help normalize Clark Kent, but normalize that at some point, trust somebody. At some point, be vulnerable enough to let somebody in your world, because if not, there's dangers behind that. Everybody can't just continue to handle the pain, handle the hurt. You go through grief, maybe somebody passing. You go through maybe a divorce. You go through it could be an accident. No matter what it is, but you hold that in because you saw that that's what it is to be a man, is to suck it up and hold it in. Hold, even though you got a whole lot of pain, and it's killing you. And we're seeing men today, the number of black male suicide is at an alarming rise. The number of young black men is at an alarming rise. So when we look at this, I'm saying, okay, what we gonna do? We know these are the issues. We know trust is an issue. Let's normalize, back to what Dwayne said, let's normalize letting someone in, finding that friend, finding, I think biblical, David and Jonathan. And sometimes you could have that David and Jonathan relationship, but there's still some things you might not be, open enough to reveal to David or Jonathan. But you gotta, because again, you got to get to the point where you're releasing this. I mean, it's just like a volcano. And I'm telling you, we're seeing it with older people. We're seeing it with, men in their 30s and 40s, and we're seeing it with young men in their 20s. At the end of holding this, we're seeing young people die from heart attacks. We didn't see that much before. We're definitely seeing suicide right here in our own, let's keep it real, right here in the Shoals area. Or right here in Alabama. And so it takes things like this, normalizing, saying, okay, you know what? I'm hurt. I'm distraught from this thing. And if you can't find that friend, that Jonathan, then there's help out there. It's being willing and open enough to say, okay, you know what? I don't want to die here. I want to be better than this. Better than what is considered to be a man by holding this in, because it's destroying me. And open enough to say, hey, let me do something about it.
That's good.
We all have been, all the young men, all the men up here, we all have been to the point that we didn't go at anybody. So if I meet this brother on the street, I see him doing something, I don't go at him in a mean way. I go at him in an humble way. Because the only way I can grasp him and pull him out is by going to him in an humble way. And we got to learn that being humble is not that I'm weak. Being humble shows that you care for someone and you're able to pull them out. I've learned in my life, talking to young men, I see them, one thing we waste a lot is money. And I have got young people to learn how to save at an early age. And it was simple. I would tell them, look, when you going down the street, you see a penny, pick it up. Get you a jar, put that money in there. And it takes a lot of pennies to make $1. So you ain't got to worry about them spending it. So it builds. And the more they put in there, they see they doing something. And in their life, they begin to put extra money back, and this would help them in their future. So we have to learn how to reach them. And the way we reach them, I can reach this brother by telling him something that, like you said, what you went through.
Yeah.
Be a witness to him that you can overcome this if you do such and such. And then once they do it, they'll come back and thank you.
Yes, sir.
I had a mother to come and thank me for telling her son how to pick up pennies. He put them in a jar, and she saw what he was doing, and he had to tell her, because I didn't tell her what I told him. So he began to tell Mom, Ella Ricks told me this. So she come in church, come to me and tell me, I thank you for encouraging my son. Now, I don't know what he's doing now because, Mom ain't bringing him to church. He's grown. So hopefully he's still holding on to that, to put back $1, put back $5, put back $10. And I've been able to encourage grown folk. Have you ever looked at a dollar bill and wondered what you had? It has a star note a star at the end of the number. That's worth money if you know how to put it on the market. You take a penny, if you know how to go in a magnifying glass, look at it, some of them is double stamped. Do you know how to get them to say, get them to trust you? These are simple ways to get them to trust you.
Well, that's the thing. Like AB was saying, it's like that trust problem that we have. You know, because everybody that look trustworthy ain't trustworthy.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of people that can play the game. You know, but the only way still to build that relationship with somebody is to be vulnerable, to be willing to get hurt, to be willing to go through the fire again. You know, now you may not open yourself up as quickly, but once you build that relationship with somebody, you know what I'm saying, and you see this person's character, you're like, you know what, I can confide in this guy. You know, and if you don't have nobody like that in your life, sometimes go talk to a stranger, go talk to, you know, your counselor, or go get you a therapist, somebody you can sit down to that doesn't know you. So they know nothing about your background. Ain't nobody judging you. Go in there and just lay it all out. You know, if you don't want to talk to somebody, you know. So it's always options, but we just got to know that we got to be willing to take that step to get help to overcome these certain things that we're dealing with. Let's move on though. Unless somebody got something real quick.
Let me say one more thing to that question. And I'll just speak for me on this when it comes to why do so many men struggle and talk openly about the emotions that they carry. For me, I struggle with the fact of I know everyone else is carrying weight. So I don't want to dump on you.
Gotcha.
You got what I'm saying? So that's something I've had to tell a bunch of my friends when they find out something like, bro, why you ain't talk to me? I know you're dealing with life and you're carrying weight your own self. So that was a thing that I still have to try to balance to this day. Is that right there? Because I care about what my friends and everybody else is carrying too, because it's hard out here. It's hard out here. So that is something right there that, just caring about what someone else is carrying, because you never know the age that someone else may be in.
That's true.
And I think about that a lot.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's a good way to think about it though, because there are some people that don't care though. They gonna dump and
Yes.
and then don't take the
Dodge
advice,
your phone call.
and don't even take the advice, and come back with the same. I just talked to you about this 2 weeks ago.
Right.
Don't call me.
Right.
But let's move on because we can hit this topic. We didn't kind of hit this topic good enough as far as podcast time's sake. So let's go on to section 2. The weight, mental health, coping, and emotional survival. Trenda mentioned suicide rates. So the first question is how do unresolved pain, stress, disappointment, or trauma often show up in men's lives? How does unresolved pain, stress, disappointment, and trauma often show up in men's lives? What does that look like?
Repeat it one more time while everyone is thinking.
How does unresolved pain, stress, disappointment, or trauma often show up in men's lives?
Sometimes when you go through things growing up or you see things, you're exposed to different traumas, and when it's not resolved, you'll mess around and marry that or be attracted to that trauma in that spouse. You say, I'll never be like my daddy, but you never dealt with that. You end up dating a female that's just like your daddy. Said, I'll never be like my mom. You end up dating your mom. You got what I'm saying? You see that a lot, unintentionally.
I know, like even dealing with the Generation Z, the young kids now in high school, because they have no coping skills. So they don't know how to cope with nothing because they just went through so much in life and never dealt with it. So therefore they never even know how to process things. They don't know how to get over stuff. Like stuff that, like when I was young, like, bro, that's not even that deep. To them, it's deep. And it's like breaking them down because they don't have the coping skills. And then it turns into anger. Then it turns into disrespect. And then it's like, you can tell, like, but it's almost like it's selective disrespect because when they're with us, with the Z Factor, they respectful. then a parent come to them and say, well, how you get mad like this? You know, it's the standards that we have to set as authority figures in our kids' lives. Like they know who they can get over on. I had one kid here one time, he told me he had anger problems. You know, we're talking about, you know, what happens with trauma. So he's developed anger problems. So I had him in the class and I told him stand up. He stood up and I told the other kid stand up. Other kid that stood up was about 6'4", 300 pounds. And he was a little dude. And I said, so you got anger problems? And he's like, yeah. I said, what you do when you get angry? He said, I just go off on people, I fight, I slap people, whatever. I just black out sometimes. So I said, if 6'5" boy, 300 pounds, get up in your face, say something to you, gonna slap him? He was like, nah. So I was like, do you really have anger problems? Or you just don't know how to deal with certain things? Because you got anger problems, you're gonna slap on anybody. It don't matter the size, the weight. It's like, no, I'm going at you. So in the back of your mind, you smarter than what you've been giving off. So it's like, we just gotta reach kids and get them to think a different way. Like see things from a different angle, you know, but I know for a fact that unresolved stuff, anger, resentment, and disrespect is what I've seen.
I bet you though, with that example, if that smaller guy was engaged with the bigger guy and that bigger guy set off one of those triggers that came from a place of trauma, oh, he's snapping.
I can see that. I agree with you.
And so a lot of times it's learning how to disarm the trigger mechanism, you know, because a lot of these unresolved things can show up in all kinds of ways. You know, it could show up as anger problems. You know, you might wonder, well, man, she's snapping all up and down the place. And well, for her, that might have been, or for him or whoever, that could have been something that took them back to a place where no one else was fighting for them. No one else was protecting them. That's just an example, but it could show up as anger. It could show up as loss of interest in things that you used to love. It could show up in not being able to concentrate. It could show up, you know, in drinking, in drug use. It could show up in isolation. It can show up in being a little too friendly.
Yeah.
And so it's different for everybody, but it manifests, you know, different. But I think if we learn to look at the history and address it by the root, we can learn how to disarm the trigger mechanism, or at least manage it better.
And I'll add to that, because something that we don't like to talk about as men, especially black men, is mental health. You know, growing up, we had one word for mental health. Boy, you crazy. Everybody, well, ain't something wrong with you. And everybody had that. But we go to the gym and we work out because our physical health is important to us. We go to church because our spiritual health is extremely important to us. But still, here we are in 2026. And if somebody says they're going to see a therapist or a doctor or a psychiatrist or something like that, we think, oh, they're crazy. The word normalized. We do need to make this more normalized, even within our culture. Because there are so many people around here that just need the help.
Yeah.
Our culture don't let us be weak. You know, growing up, I think I'm just looking at the panel. I think I'm raised different from everybody up here. And I'm the one that grew up without the father, you know, and growing up without the father, it's almost like a woman who like going to thrift stores. She go all around the shows trying to find the best dress for the cheapest price. When you grow up without a father, you start thrifting for father figures. You start, you know, you don't get everything from one man. You get a little bit from every man. That hurts you in the long run because you pick up on so many different personalities.
That's good.
I grew up coming out at 1226 Alo at my grandma's house. You seen the preachers walking to the revival with the Bibles in their hand. You seen the gangsters walking by with their bandanas. I had an uncle in the backyard who lived in a trailer and didn't talk to nobody. He only came into the house when it was time for him to whoop us because grandma said we did something. And had another uncle in the house that stayed out all night because he was fighting with crack. You pick up on all that. So now, as a grown man, you done learn from the pimp, the preacher, the player, the gangster, the uncle. You're really fighting with a lot of demons now because you didn't have a father to guide you. You had several father figures. So, you're in a shell because now you seem like you're surrounded by people that don't understand you. I'll never forget Gene Gibson, a white brother who baptized me and sent me to Florence, Alabama to Bible college. I'll never forget whenever Gene would take me to these rich white people's house, they'll sit down. I'll get so nervous sitting at the kitchen table just eating with these, wealthy white folk. They want to meet me. Oh, you're the next upcoming preacher. Oh man, you're going to change the Church of Christ. We never saw nothing like you. And I'll be so nervous when they ask me, so tell us about you. And the reason I get nervous because I had 4 baby mamas, never married now one of them. That means 4 kids out of wedlock. Religion looked down on that. Again, that's my upbringing. This is stuff you got 4 kids, that you're not married to the baby mama. You as a teen, you was in and out of jail. And how nervous I got because I knew that culture wasn't ready to see who I used to be and how I got to where I am. So, years ago, I just broke free one day and I said, you know what, I'm no longer going to let that be a fear. You know what I'm saying? You going to accept me or not? I can't help who I am and where I came from. I didn't cross all the T's and dot. I used to talk to the boys at the Bible college and I listened to their story on how they became preachers and how they got to where they were. My dad told me he'll pay for my education if I went to a Bible college. and I'm like, man, these guys ain't like me. They go, well, how you became a preacher? I said, well, God called me in the club one night. I was in the club one night drinking and I heard the voice of God call me. And so your story is so much different because your struggle is so much different. And it seems like you're surrounded by people that really don't know what the struggle is really like. And so there you go, finding yourself minimizing yourself around people because they ain't really ready for the truth. They ain't really ready for the real. And the thing is not that they got it all together. What you have done, they thought about doing also, or they struggle with it in private, just don't have the boldness to talk about it in public.
That's good, bro.
And mental health, a lot of parents, they don't see it in their children. And I had a brother. He would cut you. He would fight you. And he had mental health problems. And my parents, back then, didn't see it. And my older brother, which is in Ohio, we talks about it sometimes. We didn't see the bipolar. They got pills now for people that are bipolar. And this is one of the health problems. But we got to address it.
Yeah.
And the parents got to say, okay, I'm taking you to the doctor and let them look at you and let's come up with some remedy. And I had a cousin. They put him on medicine. He was melting out. He was fine. Soon he could get off his medicine, he ready to fight.
Yeah.
When I think about, unresolved trauma, when I look at men and I think about, I worked at a manufacturing plant for 15 years. And on my team, at one point, for many, many years, I was the only female on that team. So I got to hear everything, from them being a father, from them divorcing, from watching them hook up, at the plant. But I look at that, I look at even my adult grown brothers now, and I look at a lot of Superman. I'm looking at a lot of Superman, but when I get one-on-one, I have a chance to get to Clark Kent. But I'm really hearing all of this unresolved trauma that men are ashamed, don't know how to talk about because I like what you said. I don't necessarily like the situation, but about your brother. When you look at generation upon generation, there were generations that just were prideful people, or they didn't understand mental health. They didn't know how to call it anything but crazy. But now, because of schooling, because, we're learning. But as I look at men, even in my own family, I'm looking at them suit up. I'm looking at them look great in the community. But when I look at relationships, they going from relationship to relationship. I'm not saying this is every man, but the ones I know, because it's childhood trauma that they have never been dealt with. And it's coming out. They can't keep a marriage. They can't keep a decent relationship. They don't know how to have a relationship with their children. They're there as Superman, as the provider, giving them what they need, giving them a home, roof over their head, food, shelter, clothing. But emotionally, they checked out of the game because they don't know, because of, again, unresolved trauma. And so we look at things. I see men who have lost their job because smoking weed is just a part of their life. Like it's a regular thing they do, and they think it's okay because this is how they handle their stress.
Yeah.
Well, what's got you so stressed? And why you can't talk about it? Why are you putting this good job on the line to smoke weed? Let's deal with what's really got you here. Let's pull off the cape.
Families ain't ready to deal with it. We keep talking about we got to normalize it, but ain't too many people ready for the real. Y'all see me do my Mississippi Made videos, fixing motorcycles and all this stuff, but y'all can't imagine how many nights I just went into that little garage to cry.
I'm out here gardening, man.
And nobody knows. We praise Superman, but we laugh and condemn.
Yes.
You just said if somebody get fired for smoking weed, I can't believe he did that. And we'll make Facebook posts and man, we bash Clark Kent, but we praise Superman. And so with that being downloaded in a lot of people's head, well, I'm just going to continue to be Superman. And then look at all the preachers going viral in today's society. The moment they make one mistake, they're going viral. Why?
Yes,
because nobody is ready for Clark Kent. They're ready for the Superman who preached down walls, baptized people in mass numbers, gathered the community together. But the moment he falls, we jump on that. So now he's traumatized, not just by childhood. He's traumatized in his adulthood because now I can't even be real about the weak side. I can't even be vulnerable about the broken side. So that it's a fear there. It's a major fear there.
And I think you're right. I think a lot of times the reason why it's so easy to go viral during something negative is because they will never say that I love seeing somebody fall because now I can stay in my mess because you just like I am. I don't have to change because that person didn't change. So I don't have to change.
Wow.
I had a note in my phone I made a Facebook post probably about 4 or 5 months ago. It may have been longer than that. And it says, men want to be loved as Clark Kent, not Superman. Like, everybody loves Superman, but who loves Clark Kent? Like, who's there for Clark? Like, it's hard at times, because like I said, we have to perform. And Superman is always doing everything. He's saving. He's rescuing. He's there. He shows up on time. He's built. He's got everything. So we at times feel like we have to be everything. Why can't you love me as Clark? Why can't you love me as the dork, as the dweeb, as the one that is just smart and just only does small, simple things? And I feel like we chase that, and that comes with that stress. That comes with that trauma. And the problem is, like, will we ever outgrow that? Will they ever truly love us as just being Clark Kent?
Man, you just described Michael Jackson's celebrity all the way. That brother, he was alone. You gotta go get monkeys and giraffes and spacemen because nobody could see him outside of Billie Jean or Beat It on the stage. We only wanted him for that, but nobody wanted him to be Lil Mike.
This thing is so real.
Yeah.
I'm reading a book right now about Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein's son wrote in a memoir once that my daddy didn't give up on projects too quick. He also went on to say in this memoir, the only project my daddy ever gave up on was me.
Wow.
He had no relationship with his kids because the world around him praised the intellectual side of him so much where he didn't even feel safe being the natural, had no relationship. His second son went so crazy because he hadn't have he was in and out of mental facilities all his life. Albert Einstein, who we praise for all his ingenuities. So we praise, again, we praise the Superman side, but we condemn the natural side. I didn't learn how to cry until I found God. So that's the number one problem. Most men have been taught how to work, but they never been taught how to walk in purpose. A job is what you're paid to do. Purpose is what you're made to do. Many men are not walking in purpose because we don't have God. The first thing I did when I found God is set my whole family down, and we got to talking about everything that happened in childhood. Mama had no idea. Mama had no idea when she was dropping kids off at the house and letting uncles and cousins babysitting. You didn't know people grown folk were touching on folks. Mama heard none about this stuff till 30 and 40 years later. Because families ain't ready for the real. And so, the real fears most people. You got granddaddies and stuff that had 8 outside kids and you didn't find out about it until the funeral.
Yes, sir.
You got folks coming up and say, I'm your brother, I'm your sister. Why? Because nobody, what goes on in this house stays in this house. This stuff has been built in our minds, so we're afraid to go out and tell people what's going on, even if abuse is going on in the house. So the world just don't accept the real, they accept the fake. That's why you got so many people who are comfortable with being fake.
Can we give it though? Let me challenge the 7 of you here, because we'll say what the world, and they not, but we got to do it more. You all as men have to do it more. Do what? Be vulnerable more. Tell the truth. Be Clark Kent. I challenge you to say, hey, will you love me as Clark Kent? I don't want to be Superman right now. I want to be Clark Kent. I need to talk about X, Y, and Z. I need to discuss this. It's going to take, in order to normalize something, it's going to have to start from somewhere. So we can sit here and say these things, but it's really for you all. You all are people of influence in your own rights. It has to start somewhere. Well, you may say, oh, we just in the shows, but no, I look at you different than that. And so I challenge you, when you leave here, I challenge you to say, love me as Clark Kent. Hey, I'll be Superman when I need to be. But will you still love me when I'm Clark Kent? Hey, I need to, we need to have a round table. We need to talk about some things. My oldest brother, he's like, I made him my Superman. Growing up. He was everything it took a dad to do, he did it for me. When it was pageants, when it was this, when they need, your father had to escort you to do this part, my oldest brother did it. I had never seen my oldest brother cry, period, in life until his oldest son got married. And you would have thought somebody had died the way he was crying. But he was so proud of his son. But me, I'm standing there. This was just 2 years ago. I had never seen him cry. And he was so overjoyed, but I'm sitting there like just in total shock to see my superhero break the way he was breaking. Now, he and I have had some very deep conversations, but we're talking about, if we're going to really be about freeing people, we all in the process, from an elder to a youth minister, pastor, to therapist, counselor, to youth leaders. We're all in spaces. We talking about performance. Let's get past performance mode. Preach pastor mode. We're all in this helping profession. but it's going to take us to model. It's going to take you all. You're the men. It's going to take you all to model vulnerability. It's going to take you all to model whatever your story may be, to say, this is what I went through, but this is how I got healed. This is how I got to this point. And maybe there's still things you're working on. But you can help somebody through transparency, through being vulnerable, to say, hey, this is how I got here. You see me looking great. That's why I said, when I was talking to each one of you about coming here, I didn't want to tell you how to act, how to dress. I wanted you to be you. Because at the end of the day, it might not be nobody in these seats, but somebody's going to watch this on YouTube and wherever else it's streamed. And what they're going to see is you. Are they going to see a performance, or are they going to see the real Steve? Be real Steve.
Amen.
Are we going to see Jaden, Anthony Brooks, Dr. Jeffrey? Are we going to see who you really are? And I'm not saying you're not true to who you are, but I'm just saying to you, because we're in this shows area, we're in this community, you're a person of influence. It's going to take you. We're looking for answers. It's going to take you displaying what vulnerability looks like. It's going to be you to say, or anybody of influence to say, you know what? I went through this, and this is why I can't keep a marriage. I went through this, and this is why I don't have a relationship with my children today. I went through this, and this is why I can't keep a job. This is how it shows up. I didn't really want to sit here and say that, but I've been around.
Yeah.
I'm around this stuff daily. And I'm around brothers that can put on the performance well. But I'm to this point, the day of performance is over because we're losing too many. I'm on the board of suicide prevention, the American Board of Suicide Prevention. I'm seeing the real numbers of Black men dying by suicide. Because they're stressed out about their marriage, because they're stressed out about the police, somebody coming to get them. They're stressed out because of what society says, because they feel like they can't be real. When you all walk in spaces and you be real, that's going to help everybody else to be real.
That's 100.
But as long as we continue to perform, everybody else going to continue to perform. Coping skills, we teach them how to cope. As parents, the reason why they don't have good coping skills, because they don't have a father in their home that shows them when things don't go well, when money is funny. I don't get angry. I don't get stressed. I just try to figure it out. When I'm mad about something, me and your mama, our children, these young people need models, and they don't have the models anymore. They don't have the models of showing how to save money. We got to model what it really looks like to do life when you're really Clark Kent.
Yeah.
To say, you know what, I'm tired today and I don't want to be bothered. But it's just for a moment, give me space. And when I get my space, you know what? Husband good, daddy good. But I'm just tired. I'm physically tired.
I don't think my sons don't realize, especially my oldest boy, he think when I tell him to be quiet and stop asking me questions, that I'm like tripping. I'm like, dude, I'm trying to stay focused, stay locked in, because if you keep doing this, I'm going to go off on you. So to prevent me from tripping on you and going off on you, when you get in the car, and it is so funny because my youngest boy, they get in the car together. My youngest boy get in first. I say, look, I bet your brother get in the car and start asking about 1,000 questions. Bet. He get in, hey, daddy, where we going? Hey, daddy, what time to practice? Hey, daddy, where we going right now? Hey, daddy. And I also tell him. He started laughing at me. And I look at Aiden, I said, Aiden, that's enough, buddy. I was like, no more questions till we get to the house. Just ride, listen to the music. Because like it's that ride home that's about the only time I get like really to myself, so I put them to sleep at night. So from the moment I clock out, I clock in. Like not my job, but that real responsibility takes over then. We run them here and there and all over the place, and then he always want everything to go his way. And so I'm going through that phase we're in right now, like, bro, everything will go your way. Stop whining about stuff. Figure it out. We're going to figure it out together. Oh, well, if you left that at home, you forgot to take it to school. I told you to get it last night. That's on you. You got to learn responsibility. It's like, I'm not going to give you everything. You're going to get out. It's an entitlement that you have going on. And I feel like when kids are raised in a good environment, that's one of the things that comes with that entitlement. So I'm working on him with that right now. Like, dude, you're not the center of everybody's world all the time. Like, you gotta get out of that mode. And so, but just like doing that listening, like just having the car to be quiet on the way home for just 3 minutes. It ain't even that long of a ride. It's just 3 minutes. But flip that. My wife pick him up. She don't tell him to be quiet. She get to the house in 3 minutes and she already ready to throw in the towel. We still got 6 more hours before they go to bed. And I'm like trying to tell, like, you're gonna have to set some boundaries with him because he is so inquisitive. He will ask you a million questions and he's gonna break that question down. And you give him the wrong answer, he's gonna break that question down, ask it the same way but a different way because he's trying to get another answer from you. But I was like, look, you're gonna have to set boundaries. And she laughed at me when I tell him to be quiet. I was like, well, I come in the house, I'm good. But it's just small things like that we as men have to do so we can stay emotionally locked in so that we can make sure that we are what they need. Because if it gets to the point where if I let it go left, then I'm not taking to the batting cages today. I'm not doing this with you today. I'm not gonna treat you the same. And so I don't ever want to be that type of dad. So I was like, dude, just be quiet. Let me chill. And then, and another thing I learned too, I tell him what we're doing. So instead of him getting in the car, asking me, I'm like, okay, this is what we're doing for the day. When I pick y'all up from school, we're going to the band cave, so don't ask me nothing. Because he wants to plan everything out, and it just wears you out. After the fact that we just went to baseball practice yesterday, AAU basketball practice, training for basketball, took you to the band cage, and you still ask me what's next. That's every day. But I love it as a dad, because I know what God has blessed me with. But also at the same time, I'm like, look, when they go to bed at night, that's when I get peace. No lie. I get peace. Because they sleep, boom, I can go chill, watch a little basketball, watch a little limited series, lay it, just chill. But until they go to bed, man, on 1,000.
So we all need therapy. And
Yeah, we do.
I'm glad you said that. Because we do, actually.
We do.
And sometimes giving our children what they need means us going further than what we think we can. But that means us, no matter what we go through, we always maintain the ability to make a decision. And that decision is, I'm going to do better from here for myself and for my family. Whatever that means, whatever work on self that means, that's what we got to do.
That's good, bro.
When we start talking about families, that gets into that's a big conversation. That's a big conversation. And I don't want to ramble. I don't want to waste podcast time. I do want to say this, like, I appreciate this event and things like it. Research proves that whatever we focus on is what we get more of. Mm-hmm. And so I think where we give our focus and our attention, it matters. And we can start making decisions to start talking about this kind of thing. And let's stop, whether it's men or women, let's stop giving attention to the things that we want to see become extinct, but give attention to the things that we want to see and continue, like good communication, normalizing, expressing self, normalizing, not being perfect or not having it all together. Normalizing, well, yeah, I do need to work on me. Taking ownership and accountability, recognizing that, yeah, our past happened, but our future is not dictated by what we have been through, because we still maintain the ability to make a decision today.
That's good right there.
And we can choose to make ourselves better with every day that we have. We can choose to make our families better. And we can, I'll just leave it at that.
Let me ask you this, Dr. Jeffrey. When do you think, what are some signs that you think it's time for a man to reach out and get counseling or therapy?
That's a good question.
That's a long list. I can name a few things, and maybe we can all agree on some things and you can come up with some other things. But frustration is a sign. You know, kids know how to, they know how to work your nerves all the way down to the last one. But if I let that happen, that's on me. It could show up as, you know, not being able to sleep well, you know. Sleep is disturbed. If it feels like you're sinking, if it feels like you're having a hard time concentrating, why is this just so hard? I don't feel like I have clarity. I feel angry. I feel like punching something. I feel like slapping somebody. These are just some ways. Or I don't feel like dealing with anybody. You know, it seems like, you know, you have a job, it gets harder to do your job. Or you wake up and you feel this dread. I mean, some of that is natural, but like to feel that every day, to be saturated with dread, like, oh, this is my life. Becoming sick of life as it is. These are signs that, okay, something needs to give.
That's good.
And I'm sure, you know, we can come up with other things.
Do you want to skip on ahead or you want to?
Go ahead.
Let's move on to section 3, the shift. Healing, brotherhood, and hope. What helped you begin healing, growing, and becoming more open emotionally as a man? Now, this is going to be a good section here. We talked about the problem. Now let's get some ways to possibly solve the problem. What helped you begin healing, growing, or becoming more open emotionally as a man?
One thing I can say is that as a man, most of us, I speak for myself, my father never did hug me. Okay? My mom would hug me. And when my children come along, I hardly ever hug my boy. I would show them how to work. I would show them how to do stuff, but I didn't do that because my father didn't show me that. And if you don't have a father, only somebody showing you, that is your mother or your relatives. They're the only one showing you what you should be. And then when it come down to, excuse me, the issues in our lives with our children, look at mom. She cooked. She cleaned. I'm talking about my mom. She cooked. She cleaned. She washed your clothes. She made the bed. She did it because my dad was the only one working. My mom didn't work. She worked at home. And she could hear a child cry. She knew which one it was. But the man go to work and do one thing all day long. Mom had a mind that you might as well say was a 4-track or a 5-track. All depends on how many children that she got. And she could listen to all of them and knowing which one is talking. Now, the switch is switched on for the men. Do we hear our children like that? Do we hear different ones in our family talking, our children? Can that man say, okay, that's Joe back there calling me? Or that sister, that's my son, daughter calling me. Can I identify those voices? We can't, men can't, but women can.
But what has helped you become more open open emotionally as a man?
That's what I'm saying. That's what have helped me. Learning how to listen.
Gotcha.
Learning how to listen. Recognizing their voice, not just what they're saying, but because if they're in a crowd and they can only holler,
Mm-hmm.
I need to know that voice.
That's good.
See? I need to know their voice. So that's where we are.
Yes,
That's
sir.
where we are as men. We need to know our children's voice
Yes, sir.
when they're talking.
The tone.
Yeah, we need to know it. So we know if they're hurting,
Mm-hmm.
if they got joy in their voice. We need to know those things.
Yeah.
That only comes through though by time spent,
Mhm.
intentional time spent. Because you can be at the house and not even know your own kids.
That's right.
So it all goes back to time. Time. Man, we always say blood is thicker than water. That's like a statement that we say. But my grandfather married my grandmother when she already had 4 kids by, I think, under the age of 6. So he wasn't my real blood grandfather, but he's the only grandfather I ever knew. And the man taught me so much, loved me so hard. So we have got to be willing to allow people in, and we have to be willing to learn and be willing to just grow. Like with me personally, I know I started becoming more emotional as a man when I started speaking, because I had to learn personal development. And once I started learning personal development, I was like, bro, you flawed in so many areas, and it just really taught me. It built me up to be a better man in so many different areas. And I'm still working on it. Still not there, and you'll never get there, but you can get better every day. You can grow every day. But I know personal development with me, getting the word and just listening to these different speakers challenge me. Like I would listen to, when I first started speaking, I would have Les Brown and E.T. on repeat. I would constantly listen to them. I was studying the way they spoke, and when they stopped, I was just studying the art of speaking. But in that, it was ministering to me because they was giving you what you need, and it was challenging. Like you say you this, but then when this happened, you don't show up. And so I knew when I had kids, I was like, bro, I wanted to be Superman for my kids. Like real talk. Like going into it, like I want to be Superman. I want to be there as much as I can. I'm not gonna put nothing else above them. I'm not gonna be working when I'm supposed to. Like even to this day, me and Dwayne talk. I was like, bro, I would love to go on the road and be a motivational speaker and really put everything into it. But that's not my priority right now. It's my kids. Like, and I know like how important it is to have a father figure there. And one that's all in. So they'll never have no excuse not to accomplish whatever they'll accomplish, other than them just getting lazy. It'll be on them. It won't be because daddy went, no, it's on you. So, but that's me, man. I love when people challenge me. I love to get a challenge, because that's like, it takes me back to my high school and my college days playing ball. It was like, okay, yeah, you woke him up, he here. Let's get it done. I'll meet you there. I get up at 4:50 and hit the gym. I'll change my eating. So I'll take off work. I'll do whatever I need to do when it comes to, showing my kids and my wife that I am who I say I am. And even though I drop the ball sometimes, and that's why we all need grace. And I think sometimes as men, we don't get that grace. It's like, oh, you dropped the ball. Now it's like that person want to hold it over your head, or they want to keep it in the back of their mind. They don't want to free themselves, because you still can walk free even though you. And one thing I had to learn, I had to stop living in somebody else's mind. And once I stopped doing that peace and that like, you know what, it's on you. No matter who it is, like you may offend somebody at work and you apologize, like you can't hold on to that. Just let it go, walk away, apologize and, keep moving, because we are flawed. And I think I appreciate the times where I mess up and I have to look at God and I'm like, man, I can't believe I just did that. I can't believe I said that at this baseball game to this parent. You know what I'm saying? God was like, you ain't perfect. I'm just showing you that you still flawed. Now go apologize or go make it right. But personal development has been really, really big in my life, man. It's helped me a lot.
I want y'all to think about the greatest hurt that you have had. or the greatest tragedy that you have had? Maybe it's the greatest accident, illness. How did you recover from that? How did you overcome that thing? Maybe it was not having a father. Maybe it was being abused by your father. I want you to think about that. And I want you to tell us how you overcame that thing. Like, what was it that brought healing to you? Because there are some people, I'm saying this because there are some people that's going through various things and they just can't seem to get healed from. They don't know what to do. So this is the opportunity if any of you are willing to share just something, however you came through that.
I would probably have to say, so I'm just 21 and coming into my senior year of high school, I didn't know what was next. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know why I was here. I didn't know my purpose fully 100%. So I was at a point to where I was like, man, I don't know. Everybody wanted me to go to school, college. So like, okay, I'm going to go to college. I'm going to try and please them. So I'm going to go to college for this, something I have no interest in. So I went to college at Northwest. I was going there. I was doing something I didn't enjoy, had no clue what I was doing, but I would still be trying to please somebody else and what somebody else wanted me to do and the image that they wanted me to have and where they wanted me to go and what they wanted me to do next. I was too busy in that mindset of, okay, they want me to do this. I guess I gotta do this. And then I came to the point of like, this is not taking me nowhere. I'm not going nowhere in this. So one of the times where I realized I had to go to what I knew I had, and that was my grandma. I came to a point to where I was like, man, this is not it. This can't be it. I don't know what is it, but I know that this ain't. It don't feel right. It don't feel good. So I never forget going to my grandma, bawling my eyes out, crying. And the reason why I came to her crying is because that's who I knew I had. And I knew she was a safe place. I knew she wasn't going. And going back to what you were saying about being real normal, I feel like a lot of people are scared to be real because they are afraid for somebody trying to fix them. You know what I'm saying? Yes. A lot of people they don't want to vent because they're too scared of somebody trying to fix them, judging them. Oh, okay, this is how you fix this. No, you shouldn't have did. No, this. It's all in the approach. You got to make sure. We have to make sure we're approachable. Yeah, we got to be approachable. And one thing I had to learn at my young age and being a leader and a mentor and different things like that, I had to realize that I'm not always gonna have the answer. I'm not. I used to be the guy like, man, I gotta learn how to. Somebody come with me this, I gotta have the answer. I gotta fix it. I gotta do this. Like you said, no, we just have to be vulnerable. We just have to just have a conversation, just talk. And I had to come to the realization is I'm around a bunch of different people, kids, teenagers, young adults that come to me with things like, man, I ain't been through that. I have not been through that. I've been raised so different, but I know that I try to make myself available to be an ear, a listening ear. I know what I can be. I'm going to listen to you. I'm not going to tell nobody your business. I'm going to just be as real as I can be. All I can give is what I know. And if we are too busy trying to pour out what was never necessarily poured into us, then we won't really fix a problem. We have to fix it with vulnerability and being real and being honest. And that's why I take brotherhood so serious. We did a podcast here with Alonzo, with me and my guys. Man, I love them to death because when I'm around them, it ain't no just, yo, how you doing? It's no, bro, what you going through? What's up? Like, what is it? What's going on? Like, let me pray with you. Let me do this. Let me do that. It's never a just, yo, what's up? All right. That's why I take that so serious in making sure that I'm the example to the people that's watching. Because there's so many different ages and kids watching me. So I also got to watch myself. So I've learned some, like he said, personal development came from when I found my purpose. So that's how I learned to just, man, when you going through something, you are not meant to be going through that alone. you got somebody, you just got to find them. You just got to find them. And when you find them, make sure you trust them. When you trust them, boom, it gets easier and easier. The weight gets lifted. Because we talked about earlier performance. Sometimes we perform being strong. We not, because we think we strong because we carrying a lot. We carrying a lot of weight. But no, you strong when you can let something go. So once you realize you can let something go, that's how you can gain the strength to be able to find your purpose, do this, go out, help somebody else, and just grow it just like that. But that's just my experience.
I didn't want to overlook your questions, Trenda. I didn't. But Zoe was saying something that I want to briefly go back to. He was saying the things that help you get to the point of your healing.
Yeah.
For one thing I did, you got to find your zone. I stopped telling people yes if I knew I didn't want to be there.
That's good, bro.
Can you come do this? And I used to tell everybody yes. Can you come speak here? If I know I didn't like the people, if I know I didn't trust them, I know the preacher don't mean me no well, things then got back to me I started saying no. No is one of the most powerful words that frees you because you put yourself in unhealthy environments that don't help you heal.
Yes, sir.
That's why statistics shows that the majority of heart attacks take place on Monday morning because people are going to jobs they can't say no to when they need to find a zone. So I learned how to find my zone, put myself around things that bring me peace, things that bring me comfort. And you know, you can talk about me all you want, but don't you know, he told me no, he couldn't come speak. And I learned how to tell people no. Number 2, expression. Poetic Magic saved me. Poetry saved me. When I was in Georgia, I got hooked over to a poetry group called Poetic Magic, and I brought Poetic Magic to the shows. A group of people who stood on stage and told their life story in the form of poetry. I found how powerful and therapeutic writing was. That's one of the reasons I started Poetic Magic over there, because I seen the hypocrisy of church, and I wanted to create a platform where people didn't have to be church for a moment. They can be themselves for a moment. A preacher called me last night. He said, man, I be listening to that Poetic Magic. Bruh, I done cried from the house so many times just listening to that live where people on stage just being real. He said, that's what I want, man. I'm thinking about leaving the pulpit and create a ministry, something like that, where people can be themselves. So expression. Then my last thing that led to a lot of my healing is it was on my heart, you know, just like Zoe. I'm just like Zoe. I've been on Les Brown, Les Brown more than anybody. I think Les Brown is the number one speaker in the world. What's the other word? What's his name?
Eric Thomas.
Eric ain't touching Les. Les just, he gifted. He got it. But Les Brown said he did a podcast once on healing, and that thing bothered me. And God was laying on my heart that you need to get in your car and drive to Oklahoma City and talk to your father. I had been preaching for about 10 years then. Been a minister for 17 years now. I had been preaching about 10 years, and God laid it on my heart. You need to be the bigger person. You've been waiting on your dad to come back and reconcile things, but you need to be the bigger person. So I called my brother. I was like, bro, it's been on my heart heavy, man. I want to go talk to Dad, man. I want to know if you're going to ride down to Oklahoma with me. He lived in Killeen, Texas. He's military. He was at Fort Hood. He's like, man, I'm good. Dad had not been in my life, didn't affect me, but I'll ride with you. I said, well, that's all I want you to do is ride with me. And we rode to Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, knocked on my father's door, and we sat there and talked for hours. And he said, before I get to you and why I was, because I want to know why weren't you there? He said, before I answer your question, I want to get to Jeremy, which is my oldest son. He said, all I want to do is take care of home and be with you and your mama and just live a good life. He said, I caught your mama with another man and it broke me. Forgave her, caught her a couple months later and it broke me. And I made up in my mind that every woman after your mama, I'm going to hurt just like your mama hurt me. He said, Stephen, your mama ended up being after her.
Wow.
And he said, I've been following you for years. He put out his phone. He said, every school you spoke at, I saw that. Every sermon you done preached on YouTube, I listened to it. He said, I was your biggest fan from a distance. He said, when the father has not been there and the child ends up being successful without the help of the father don't know what to say. He said, so I never reached out because I did not know what to say. So Jeremy, that felt like he didn't need to go on a trip, is in tears now. And he had no idea that he needed to be there because Daddy wanted his life either. And so forgiveness, you're going to have to forgive. You're going to have to let it go. You're going to have to be the bigger person. It's a lot of people you're waiting to come to you. You got to go to them. And that led to where I am today, sitting down talking to my father. After 30 years.
Good stuff, bro.
That's good.
Wow.
Well, I can say I've seen people around me growing up dying, my age, you know, and they were getting strung out. And I saw all this stuff, and I began to pray, and I told God, I said, Lord, I know one day my mom and dad gonna die. And I want you to take the hurt now, because I didn't want to go through that. And when my son got killed, I didn't cry. My wife cried, my son cried. I didn't cry. I was there for the family. I supported my wife and my son. And in that, while everybody was talking at the courthouse and stuff, the man asked me to forgive him. And I went home, I thought about it. And something happened to me in my life, and Lord said, if you don't forgive them, I won't forgive you. So it took me forgiving him that the Lord would forgive me of my wrongdoing.
Wow.
In my life. And I said in my heart, I said, now, you got to suffer your penalty. I'm not going to go to the jail and get you out. You got to suffer what you do. So I left it at that. And the Lord forgave me. I felt free. You got to free yourself.
Yes, sir.
And the only way you can be free, you got to forgive others.
You got to forgive her.
I don't care how hard, how tough the test is, how much it hurts you. You got to forgive it. In many days, I would pass by the graveyard. Nobody in the car but me, and I would cry. My wife asked me one day, said, I don't see you crying about nothing. I don't see you crying. I said, well, I don't have to cry in front of you. Like you were saying, you go to your garage and you get out there and you cry. Everybody don't have to see you cry. Because it's not for everybody. It's only for you. That you release yourself and let it go. Sure, I want the man to stay in jail as long as he's supposed to. And hope and pray that when he get out, that he'll don't come to my family, don't come towards my family. Because I don't know what his thinking is. He could be sitting there, well, I'll get him when I get out. You don't know that.
Yeah.
But you have to pray that away from you.
Amen.
And that was the greatest hurt, losing my son.
Bro, I can even imagine that. Yeah.
But my dad, he lived to 93. My mother was in her 80s. My granddaddy lived to 103. I said, I don't know what my life gonna be like. But I'm gonna take one day at a time.
That's good.
Well, my mother was the queen of my life. And she was loved and esteemed and honored. Me and my brothers, we treated her like a queen because she was. And she would give her last to anybody. Me and my mother had a good relationship. to the point where we were friends. And 16 years ago, she passed away. That was the hardest thing I ever went through. That was the darkest journey I was ever set upon. I was mad at God. And I told him. Because I'm thinking, everybody was praying. All of the church. She worked at a school. All of the schools was praying. Everybody in the community was praying. And she passed away.
Mm.
And I said, you up there with all this power.
Mm.
And we doing all this praying and singing and crying. Well, my anger passed and a little bit of understanding came, but, and that's to realize that some of the things that my mother was dealing with, she didn't have to deal with anymore. But one of the things that has helped me is time.
Mm.
Because till this day, I miss my mama.
Yeah.
Mm.
And every day for 16 years, I think about her. And another thing that helps in a scenario like that, at least for me, was to allow myself to feel what I needed to feel. Whether it was anger, whether it was sadness, and to allow myself to express that. Whether it was, in a pillow for however long it needed to be, crying, yelling, punching. There were times, and I guess there is a balance because it's not always meant for people to see you cry. But then there might be times where it would help to see somebody show you how to deal with what you're dealing with. Because I looked at my family and I'm like, man, y'all don't seem too bothered. It seems like I'm the only one struggling. And then I learned that, well, everyone struggles in their own way.
Sir.
So allowing myself to feel what I need to feel in the time that I'm feeling it has made a world of difference. But also realizing that sometimes you just got to let time run its course. Some things you can't rush, and grief is one of them. It shows up whenever it gets ready. You can't always predict it. Sometimes you can. But you start learning, for me, my cycles of grief, around birthdays, holidays, when you lose somebody, you go through what they call the year of first, where you're going through everything for the first time without them. Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, my birthday, her birthday, my brother's birthday. And then you get through that year, and then you got to do it again. And you realize that it doesn't seem like it gets easier. It gets a little duller in time. But I will say this was a blessing to me. My wife was a blessing to me. Having someone to process with. And then, I won't take too much time on this, but my daughters probably were the completion of my healing.
When you say something about your daughters, it's kind of like with your kids,
they give you that unconditional love, you know, especially when they're young, at the age they are now. I got a 9-year-old and 11-year-old. And it's like, no matter what's going on in my life, like, I can take me and my boys somewhere and we can forget about what's going on in the world. You know, so when you said it's kind of like that completion, like, so when I'm dealing with stuff, I like to hit the gym and hit the weights. But sometimes it's just like, man, like, just me and my boys, you know, because they're always going to look at me a certain way, you know, and it's, I don't know what it is, but I guess it's just that love that they give you. And they know I got them. They know they know I got them, you know. And just to experience those moments that we build, when and they think I'm just taking them to the batting cages or I'm taking them to the gym to put work in. I'm doing it just for training. Like, no, I'm spending time with y'all. Like, I'm investing in y'all. Like, I believe in y'all. Like, I believe in y'all more than y'all even know. Like, I see, you know, where y'all can go in life with what God has blessed y'all with. And I'm not just saying that. Like, no, I see it. And as long as they're willing to work, you know, I'll push them in whatever that thing is. It doesn't matter what it is. But when you was talking about your kids, man, like, sometimes it's just like just seeing them and being around them and just spending time with them and just going off doing stuff with them, man. It puts you back in that grounded place. And it's just like, you know what, God, I know you still got me, you know, so.
And just real quick, and that's where we can also learn where the real power is right there in Clark Kent. Because when I'm with my daughters, I was bowling one time. I was doing terrible. And my daughter ran up to me. She said, "Great job, Daddy." And I felt good. I felt really good because of what my daughter said. And there is nothing, as long as I continue to give my daughters my time and my heart and my mind and my presence, my prayer is that they will always view me in that light. If I'm Superman, I'm not getting that. That's Clark Kent.
Yes, sir.
But then I realized that my daughters view me as Superman. But they know I'm Clark Kent, who doesn't need to sleep or eat or anything else.
They got all the answers.
This is good because what I've heard is, you know, healing looks different in so many dimensions. When I think about Jaden, I'm glad he brought that up. I saw Jaden, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 years ago at an event. And, you know, I'm one of those, I just watch and listen. I might not say a word. And there was a gentleman that came up to Jaden, and Jaden was videoing an event. And the gentleman said, "Hey, where you go to school at?" And Jaden said, "I don't." And he said, "You know, you need to be in college." And I'm listening and I'm taking all this in. And I had been watching Jaden the whole time at this event do his thing. And he was killing it. I was just like, okay, he on point. He on point. He was moving, you know, getting the shots he needed to get. And I'm hearing this conversation and I began to get grieved because I'm like, it's just what Jaden said. Now I'm watching from afar. Or not from afar, but, you know, I wasn't ear hustling either, but I just happened to hear.
Just didn't know.
But I was like, this dude is trying to make him, I could hear Jaden's passion because he's even talking about, well, I'm doing what I like, you know. But yet you got this man who's established, who's a professional, saying, you need to go to college. And so it grieved me because I'm thinking, just let him be. You know, college is not everybody's path. And I'm seeing the passion in, and I didn't know Jaden as well back then, but I saw something in Jaden. And for him to tell the story about, you know, his college experience, but I'm glad that he had that it person. And that's what I heard. Your it person was your brother. He didn't realize it, how much, but just riding, going with you. And then you all's children. So healing comes forgiveness. I mean, we've all learned that it's not for that person, it's for us.
Us, sure is.
You know, so that we can be whole, so that we can release, as you talked about, that pain that, you know, we've experienced. So I'm glad we're ending, you know, on this note that covers healing, because again, men, you all deal with so many different things. But I would like to see in all of our men to be able to be vulnerable, transparent, have a person that they can go to talk about those things that's really weighing them down. Because again, I mean, you can be alone at times. We all need that alone time, but we all gotta need somebody. God didn't put us on this earth to be a silo, to be alone. And so we all need, and if you don't have that person, you know, I want to encourage anybody that's listening now, you know, if you don't have that it person that you feel like you can go to talk about things that may be weighing you down, that may have you thinking a little irrational, then I want to encourage you. First, I'll tell you, if your thinking is way out there, text 988. And they're there to help you with any type of mental health issues that you may be having, to direct you. But then I want to encourage you, you know, maybe it's not that far, but maybe it's God is showing you need to forgive somebody. You need to go to somebody. I want to encourage you to do what's necessary. And if it's go to therapy, you know, I heard Mr. Ricks talk about, basically, he didn't say it this way, but he said, do the work. You have to do the work. Even going to therapy, you got to pick up the phone or you got to dig looking for a therapist. But I want to encourage, I hope, again, I'm going to challenge you all on this panel to walk out being Clark Kent. I want to encourage you to be vulnerable and transparent. I'm not saying get out here and tell all your business. But don't have people believing that you're something that you're not, because doing that is going to stop you from being healed. So get rid of the cape and just put on your regular clothes like y'all looking today, and keep it real with those that are around us.
Can we please put our hands together for Trenda for putting on this wonderful event?
Man, they have fire over there too. You was talking about Jaden first at the shop.
Yeah. She clean, and her
hair dry,
and that hair laid.
You guys gonna be every
She
time.
knows she fine too. She know it. She knows.
Chris. I mean, it's laid. The part,
Okay.
the finger waves,
Okay,
everything.
y'all get embarrassed easy, so you know. But I let me say this: I thank God for all of you all. I just met Mr. Ricks, but I felt like when I talked to him on the phone, I felt like I had knew him already. The rest of you guys know that I mean, y'all are brothers to me, you family to me. I appreciate you. I don't know who I was telling him what to, but I can't thank you enough, you know, but this is my life. This is my purpose. Is helping in whatever capacity I can. There are things I run from, wish, you know, that God didn't put on my heart. Just because it's different. But I'm glad that I'm obedient to whatever God says. And I'm glad that you all have agreed. I can't thank you. I can't pay you. You know, I can't do anything, but, well, I can thank you. But I can't thank you enough for being vulnerable today, to share what you have shared. And I know I'm just believing that somebody will see this, some man will see this, and hopefully reach out and get the help they need. Reach out for forgiveness, reach out for conversation, because that's what this is. Reach out to have conversation with another man. It takes brotherhood. I love what Jaden and his friends are doing. That's rare.
Very rare.
But it's so much needed among the young 20-year-olds. And so I encourage you, you know, we only here for a minute. We don't know how long, but I think we're all in this helping business. And so let's pull off the capes when necessary and be what people need us to be toward them, so they can get the healing they need.
Yes, ma'am. Well, looks like that's another episode of the Elevated Chat Room. I thank you guys for joining us tonight. Thank you for my co-host over there, Ms. Trenda. Like, share, comment. You guys be blessed.
Miss Trina, can you tell the people out there where you got your hair done if they go?